Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today. Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to explore highlight really the different ways that Western people, Anglo, Western trained people, training as in education, socialization, and community, racial group attitudes to analyzing problems and fixing them and solving them and how to go about the whole thing. Now, again, having traveled around the world many times over on business, I find the attitudes vary. And I'll talk a bit about these attitudes before I give some local examples. Now, the local example I'm going to have is I got an email from a supplier of some technology, some kit that I got, saying that there was a bug in their software, but you had to go in to one of their support centers, and they would give you some key, and then so you had to go through the process that they did. Now, when I went, there was in this particular support center, there was, for example, 5 white guys and 1 Indian guy. The Indian guy spotted me and came out and was quite determined that he would be the one, but he couldn't do it. And so I'll come back to that. But to illustrate the wider point, I was in a third world country. There's probably middle income by that stage, and I was meant to be meeting the technicians on site, and it was a reasonably important customer, and I wanted to make sure that they were fully confident doing business with us. But the technicians, their plane got held up or whatever it was, but they couldn't arrive, and I only found this out at the last minute. So now I'm a reasonably technical sort of guy, so I could deal with the issues that were there. So I took off my, and I'm the Asia Pacific sort of vice president, so I don't typically do this every day, but coming from the West, I do. The issue is solving the problem. I know what the problem is. I've got the expertise to solve it. I'm the only one there. The customer needs the thing solved. Do it. Just do it. And so I took off my, my jacket and pulled out the screwdriver and did what. And the CEO of the company came around, and then I was dealing with his engineering manager, who seemed very uncomfortable by what I was doing, and I wasn't really sure why. And he sort of wandered off. Next thing you know, the CEO came around, and he said to me, "Billy Bob," took me to one side, and then in sort of frantic whispered tones, you're the head guy, you're the Asia Pacific. The other people, they can't see you doing this. It'll diminish it. They won't respect you anymore. They'll lose all respect for you if they see you doing this. And that's in their culture. So they're prepared to wait and suffer, take the pain. Their customer waits and so on, because it's an issue of respect and protocol and that sort of stuff. Another example, I was in a hotel. Again, this is a third world country in this case, and a nice 5-star hotel, beachfront, the whole 9 yards. And the manager, the restaurant manager, this is at breakfast time, okay, the restaurant manager had gone away, or he's something or other, he wasn't around. The overall manager of the hotel, something happened to him. The restaurant manager was ill, and they'd arranged for another restaurant manager to come from another hotel, but he hadn't turned up or hadn't arrived yet. So when breakfast came, none of the tables had been set up. None of the, and it's quite a large hotel, and none of the tables have been set up, and the whole thing's in chaos. There's guests queuing back a million miles, and the local native people who've employed to do the grunt work, they're sort of looking around nervously, wringing their hands, not knowing what to do. Now, it's obvious what you do. You just set the tables up so the guests can sit down and have their fucking breakfast. That it's obvious, it's plain, it's clear. Any Western person would do that. But they didn't do it because protocol demanded that if the white manager wasn't there to do it, that only the village head man could make that decision as to what to do. And making a decision beyond your station or without proper respect to protocol and these sort of peasant protocol and third world not giving due respect and deference to that was sinful, if not criminal, in their society. So no one could do anything. So what ended up happening was the guy who was sick, the white guy who was sick in bed, and he just had to come out. He was looking terrible, actually. I thought he was going to keel over. And he just backed out the orders. Okay, you do this, you put the tables here, you do that. And he backed out all the orders, and he got everything, and that was it. It was all done in 5 minutes. But it was just the way they go about things in those societies and attitudes. Coming back now and I've noticed this. I've hired a number of Indians and Chinese, and that's the difference in how they go about it and how the elaborate methods they've got for avoiding responsibility and accountability. It's and the sort of intrigues they'll go to again avoid accountability and responsibility. And Brahmin Indians generally are terrible for this. So this goes. So I come into the technical. I'm looking for technical support, and so I come in. The Indian comes over. I suggest to him, well, maybe you want to get one of the other guys. No, he's determined to. Now he's got a very thick accent, so he hasn't been in Australia very long. Thinking, why is he even here? I mean, what skill does this guy have? Really? Well, why the fuck is he here? That's the sort of question going through my mind. Clearly, he's taking a job that some local white guy could easily do. He hasn't got skills and this was confirmed in the conversation. He hasn't got any skills that aren't already in this country. So he's here for no reason. Now, I'm not sure he's Brahmin, but he has certainly had plenty of entitlement. So I explained the problem. So I said, look, I've received an email. Do you know about this? Because I'm thinking, if you don't know about it, get me someone who does. Because not everyone's got this product or got this version of the product. So how many of the employees know about this email saying you need to upgrade? You think, so he says, yes, he does know about it. Quite clearly he didn't. And I thought, why are you lying to me? Just say you don't know. But in their culture, he can't do that. To the white boy, he can't admit, I don't know. He can't do it. He'd rather tell 1 million lies, 100 million lies, engage in any deception and so on, rather than just say, look, actually, I don't know about that, but I'll go and get Billy Bob or Jimmy Jack who might know, or I'll ask for you. I'll ask to see you. He can't do it. He just can't bring himself to do it. So clearly he doesn't know. So I say, okay, well, this is what fortunately I've brought a copy. So I say, okay, this is the email about such and such. Yes, I know it. Yes, I know all about it. And, you don't, you lying fuck. But anyway, it looks like I'm stuck with him. I say to myself, so can you show it to me? I said, well, you said you already know, but I would like to see. And so he starts to read it, and I can tell. I mean, again, it's absolute confirmation. He's got no idea what I'm talking about. So then, I let him read the whole thing, and it hasn't sunk in. I can tell he still hasn't grasped what needs to be done. So then I have to tell him, okay, well, the thing is that I need an update to the firmware or the software, and needs another firmware chip, or whatever it is, downloaded, whatever the situation is here. But I need this, and this needs a key, and so I need that key, and that has to be got directly from the support center. So again, he doesn't know. So he's trying, but he's trying to deal with it. So I give him an answer. So if you don't know, go and get someone who does. Why do you not have confidence in me? Why do you not have confidence? There's nothing to do whether I do or don't have confidence. You're missing the point here. I just need someone who knows what the issue is and can give me the fix. That's all I need, just that. So just focus on it. I want you to be confident. No. You're missing the point, Sandeep. That's not why I'm here. I'm not here as some strange, macabre Indian confidence building exercise. But he won't let it go, and he hangs on. And so you have to do so. No, I don't. That's obviously not. I said, look, I need to talk to someone else. Why will you not show God? He kept coming back to this. It's nothing about you don't know about this. You don't have the expertise or the knowledge or whatever. So pass it on to someone else who does. Your job is to make sure I get the service as the customer. That's it. That's your job. This is not some strange sort of confidence building exercise. Some insecure chip on shoulder fucking Indian is here. You shouldn't be here. So anyway, it went around like that. And he went off and he came back and he still didn't know. And he said, well, you have to do this. And it ended up fucking the thing up. So I had to go back and get it. So I had to avoid talking to another, an Indian or another Indian there. Now, if I go further into the city for Sydney, this is for technical support, then it'll be only Indians or there won't be any white person. And so I ended up going to another one. But this time I downloaded the checklist of what had to be done. So point. So I went in, and again, I got this time an Indian woman who again didn't know, hadn't got a clue, even though she insisted she did. Again, a thick accent, and but they just can't let it go. They just can't pass it on to someone else, and they're going to lose face, and they're going to lose dignity, and this and all these sort of strange things. It's very much part of their culture. And this is starting to creep into our culture, by the way, in the West. I've noticed a number of younger Western people, younger white kids who can't admit they don't know. And you'll give them an answer. Okay, it's clear that you don't know the answer here, or you don't know the issues. So just let it go. Just pass on to someone who does. That's all you have to do. And they'll be breathing deeply, and they'll be sweating, and the eyes will be darting in all directions. They just can't let it go. Somehow it's a loss of face and dignity, and so that's even creeping into our culture now. But I took it to the other Indian this time. Again, didn't know. I had the point-by-point checklist supplied by their company, their business, and so she looked at that, and then so went through it but she had to go through it step by step. She couldn't just go, okay, well, points 1 through 6, you've already done that clearly. Points 7 and 8 aren't relevant. Point 10, okay, point 11, I need to give you this. That she can't do. They just can't do that. And this is where a Western analytical mind will be different. I would do that straight away. What needs to be done to solve the problem now, and to make the problem go away? In this case, a technical fix. That's my training and understanding of how things are. The idea of protocols and so on is bullshit. But it's very much an issue in other cultures, which is why, and certainly by my experience, most Indians and Chinese are useless unless they get their little step-by-step checklist. That they're fucked. They just can't do anything. And you see this with technical support over the phone. You know when you've got pretty much, that when you've got a straight white male, they know how to do it. And they can just get you to the solution. Whereas, the third world people, or the Indians, the Chinese, not simply because do they know or not know, and that is an issue, but they have to go through the steps and the protocol. So this Indian chick, again, who didn't know, she had to start at 1 and grind her way through, each excruciating point one by one, as irrelevant to the first 6 points were, given the status of the equipment. So in the end, she got there, and in the end, it was some new hardware was needed, and which the first guy, the Indian guy, should have worked out and told me. And if I'd got a white guy, they would have told me. But so going through all that rigmarole, it took hours, in total of sweating over getting this solved. Where if I'd got a white guy straight away, I think it could have been done in 5-10 minutes. That's the difference of dealing with these people. And once you've got too many of these people, as we do now in the West and in Australia, productivity will tank. It will go through the floor. Productivity at all levels and all places will go through the floor, regardless of whether they're cheaper wages for these people. But productivity on a national scale will suffer, and suffer horribly, because of the different way these people have of doing things. Now, the other thing that's interesting is even when they're born in Australia, or come at a very young age, Indian and Chinese, there's still the next generation is still afflicted very much with that social values, social structure. And it's not just that, it's a form of logic as well. They still are captured into the structure of logic of their ethnicity and their diaspora. and that has an effect. This is one of the reasons why the West is so much richer than all the others, the ability to get things done with a minimum of fuss. That's one of the big factors that separates the West in wealth and wealth production, wealth creation, organizational structure, and so on. That ability to see the problem for what it is and fix it. Very few cultures have that ability, and it stands out. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.